Hi everybody, today is August 29th and the time is 6:58 p.m. If you are viewing this video at any other time, just know that it's a recorded upload of a live chat. Okay. So we got Joe Boxley, I forget the actual name, first in the chat room. Thank you so much. We got June Hansen here. She says hi T and everyone, and Joe says hi as well. And then Sarah Raglan is here. She says hey T and everyone. It's not quite 7 yet, so we will have them rolling up. Claudette Bettis is here. She says hi from Anaheim, California. Got Sonia Jones here. She says hi T. Hi Sonia. And got Diane 57 says hey T. Hi Diane. We got Mrs. J.A. Coleman says hello T. Hi. How are you? I know I missed one before that, but I'll wait for it to pop on my phone hopefully. It's like just delayed. I don't know if you all can see this. You can't see the screen, but it hasn't given me any chats after Sarah Raglan. Got Rhonda Landon is here. So let me close the chat and see if I can get back in it. Live chat. Okay, now they popped in. I had to close it out and come back in. We got Joanne Gilbertson here. She says hi from Port Angeles, Washington. Hi, Joanne. Now it's flying past. We've got Winfred Baptiste is here. She says hi T and Quilt family. I hope your package arrived to you by now, hopefully. Got Patty Spencer. She says hi everyone. Stella Johnson says hi T. I'm new to this. I enjoy your quilt shows. Thank you so much, Stella. Welcome to the live chat. It's kind of fun. If you got any questions, you just post it into the comment box. If you want to reply to anyone else's comment, you just put their name and then reply. So it's pretty easy and we're pretty friendly here. Anita Palmer is here. She says hello from Louisville. Hi, Anita. Rebecca Oliver is here. She says, hey T, glad to be here. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome to live chat. Sandra Cubbins is here. She's saying hi. Rose Chiavelli says, hi T, I hope all is well. Did your client love the Harley quilt? My client is currently out of the country. I knew that he was going to be traveling, but I had a deadline date to have his quilt ready by August 31st. He should be back sometime after Labor Day, so we'll make an appointment to get him his quilt. However, I did send him a photo of the quilt, and he is enthralled with it and is so ready to pick it up. So, yes. Teresa Davison is here. She says, hi, Quilt family, all the way from Los Angeles, California. Hi, Teresa. Diane is here. She says, hello, love. Hi, Diane. How are you? I showed a couple of little placemats I made with your squares that you sent last time, but I'm going to do another video on that stuff. I'll upload it later at some point. Timothy Raymond is here. Says, hi, T. This is Teresa McBray. I'm using my brother's phone. I don't get cell service on mine here in Roscommon, Michigan. Okay. Hello, Teresa. Welcome to the live chat. Lee Bryan says, hey T, love your Christmas quilt. Thank you so much. Hi, Leetta. We got Cheryl Starling here. She says, hi everyone, glad to catch you live. We have Stella Johnson from Tacoma, Washington. And I don't know what the sorry is for, but none needed. We got Eric here. Hi, Eric. Welcome to the live chat tonight. Diane says, laughing out loud, my alarm just went off to watch you, T. Alrighty, so at least it's working for you. Judy is here. She says, hello, T and Quilt fans. Beautiful Christmas quilt. Thank you so much. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Mary Smith says, hi, T and everyone from Brooklyn. It's good to be back for the live chat. Welcome back, Mary. Hope you're feeling good. Rose says, awesome. It's a masterpiece. I'm here on chat with you and making hexies from Philadelphia. No, making hexies. Hello to everyone. And then we've got Cuttered Socks says, hi, T. This is Christine from Philadelphia. I had to figure out what that was. I thought it was spam at first. Welcome to the chat, Christine. Winfrey says, I have to check with the post office. We'll let you know when I get the package. Okay, thank you. Joanne says, your Christmas quilt is just beautiful. Why, thank you, Joanne. And we've got Sarah Ragland says, welcome, Stella Johnson. We're glad you joined us today. See, I told you they're such nice people. Tracy Davis is here, says hello. Trey is here, says I made it. Hi, T and T Quilters. Hi, Trey, and hi to Mario. Julia Whitney is here, says hello from Killaloo, Hawaii. I'm sure I butchered that. But welcome. Thank you for watching. And says that they are cute red socks from, what's that, Christine? Hold on, let me go back. Yes, Christine says she's making cute red socks. So we've got Annette Bethune here, says hello from Warner Robins, Georgia. Hi, Annette. And then we've got Kathy Warren, says hello, T. I'm new to your chat. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, Kathy. Hope you like it, and we'll come back again. We've got Sylvia Mayo, says hi, T. And Kathy says she's in Pennsylvania. Okay, so I've gone through the chats up to that point. So, my week. As you all know, I put up the video about finishing the Harley Treads quilt. I did do that. I recorded that video on Sunday just so I could document the ending of that sew-along for everyone, and uploaded it on Monday. We got Erica Selman here. She says, I missed it. Go back to the phone. She says, yay, Warner Robins, my brother lives there. And then Rose says, T, did someone teach you to quilt, or are you self-taught? The work you do is absolutely beautiful. I know anyone can learn anything, but you can see you put love in your work. And I'm going to talk about that as well, because I have my first quilt here coming up. So I've been working on the Harley Treads quilts. The reason why you didn't get any other videos this week is because I'm actually working on retreat. We're going on retreat in 2 weeks, and I have 7 people, including myself, scheduled. And so I've been working on preparations for that, getting the actual list of quilt shops that we're going to stop at in the various counties. I already knew what counties I wanted to go to, and so now I have a list of the actual addresses, telephone numbers, and the hours of the day that we're going to visit. I've called and made dinner reservations at one of our establishments that we're going to eat out at. So I've been doing a lot of housekeeping stuff, a lot of behind the scenes prep work for the quilt retreat, which I'm not going to reveal here. I have been making some other videos that all have me probably in the same t-shirt, but they will be uploaded after retreat because I don't want to spoil it for those that are going on retreat. So you'll get to see everything that I'm doing for a retreat, and you'll get to see hopefully some video at retreat. If I have people at retreat that do not want to be on camera, you will not get to see everything that's going on retreat. But I will try to make sure that I record at least me putting up the blocks, or me laying out the blocks, or finishing off some of the quilt tops for the sew along, the birthday challenge. But I have to respect people's rights not to record them if they don't want to be on camera. So that will also be part of the process. So that's the reason why I'm not really doing a whole lot right now, because my focus is actually somewhere else. And like I said, it's only one of me. So, and I have I have a friend that's doing some work for me, but she's doing something else, and so I don't really have anybody else that I can have do this type of work and know that it's going to be done correct. So, and I'm one of those people, if I'm doing something, I want it done right. So I do it myself. So with that, I'll go back and make sure I didn't miss anyone signing in. Let's see. And that says, I've been here for a year. Oh, okay. I haven't noticed your name. Thank you for letting me know. And thanks for sticking with us. And Jennifer says, 2 weeks. Yes, indeed. She's coming on retreat. We've got Sarah saying, welcome, Kathy Warren. We're so happy to have you with us today. Mary Smith says, the Harley Tread quilt was beautiful. The quilting looked just like tire treads. And you're the second person to say that. I think it was Sin Forrest that made it, that pointed it out to me, that it actually looked like it could be driving on a winding road. So that was pretty cool. Totally by accident, but great. Stella Johnson says, thank you, Sarah Ragland. I'm a novice quilter and enjoy watching various quilt shows for ideas. Well, I have a whole lot of things in my playlist. I know the past few videos have not been a whole lot of learning videos per se, but I have a lot of learning videos. I have a playlist that is just quilt blocks. So if you go to Teaquilts homepage on YouTube, click on the playlist, and then it will give you some of my playlists that I have created for you. I have one for quilt blocks, one for stack and whack, one for string quilts. So I've got a slew of things, and I'm just blocking some of the other ones. I think I have some on the different ways that I make quilt backings. So yes, enjoy my playlist while I am busy with other stuff. So let's see, who else is here? Teajuana Montreal is here. She says, hello, T and everyone else. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have just a few quilts that I want to show you, and the majority of them are, most of them are Christmas or winter related, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But I just have one that I wanted to show you. I just took these quilts, some of them out of my lecture that I just had, and I just put them to the side so that I could show you. But I did want to show you the only crazy quilt that is in my possession, and it is not very big. It's about 12 by 18 inches or so, maybe 20. And I actually did this just for my lecture. When I first got my embroidery machine, it's upside down. When I first got my embroidery machine, I made a lot of these sewing related theme just because I was so excited to have my embroidery machine, and then I didn't know exactly what to do with them. So then as I established my scrap quilt lecture, I thought that I would just use them in a little crazy quilt. So this is a true crazy quilt. All of the seams have stitching on them. Some of them are done by hand. Others, I used my embroidery machine because I like using a combination of both. And I even like where I covered up some of those little glass mirror things. Very pretty. And then just added a few charms. So I actually put the year that I started sewing, which is 1986, in the quilt top. I don't think I documented the quilting in here, but I at least documented when I first got my first sewing machine. So Sin is here now. She says, hi, T and everyone. Sorry I'm late, laughing out loud. But yeah, so this is a true crazy quilt. Crazy quilts do not have batting in them. Most of them are just, as you can see here, they do that sew and flip style. So you leave an opening, turn it right sides out. And then you might see some where they have the tacking in the back. And I don't think I even needed to, yes I did tack. I made it, you can barely see them. So if I get up close, you can see the various little tackings. So they're mostly just tacked to hold the layers together, no batting. And so it's ironic that they're actually called crazy quilts when they're not true quilts according to the definition of a quilt, which is 3 layers, a top, a batting, and a backing. So that's that. And I just had so much fun using flowers, silk flowers here as well. So yeah, that's the first quilt. I have to go back and make sure I'm not missing anything on the phone. Sarah Ingstrom says, hi from Nashville. What a gorgeous quilt. Thank you so much. And Diane57 says, wow, so cute. Very imaginative. And then Joanne Gilbertson says, just beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I'm already hot. Cut the fan up. Woo. Okay, so now we're going to go into, I was asked last week, I think it was by Trey, about some Christmas quilt ideas. Now, I don't know if I actually have the ideas that you're looking for because I didn't pull out everything for quilting, but I decided to pull out just some things and some techniques that you could use for gifts as well as things that you could do for yourself. So I don't have a whole lot, but I do have a little mini stack here. So when I do Christmas and winter all at the same time. When I take down my Christmas quilts, I also take down my winter quilts. So therefore, I am an avid lover of snowman quilts. And so I have a lot of things that are snowman related. And I just pulled out a few for you, just a couple, maybe 3. This here is something that I made in the hoop. It's an embroidery design. And it's all done in the hoop, where each one of these snowflake points was done in the hoop individually. And then they had you put it together inside the hoop. So the entire thing, except for the scarf, was done by embroidery machine. And I did this in November 2009. And it's called Frosty's the Starman. Frosty the Starman. And it's an embroidery design. I actually purchased this at Jackman's in St. Louis. And I'm not sure if anybody else has this design or not. But yeah, and this is just how it looks on the back. But yeah. Other thing I do for my family especially is that I make Christmas stockings. Some people have lost their stockings where I've made them at least 2 stockings. And then after 2 stockings, I just call it quits. Trying to make sure nothing's on my forehead. I call it quits. And they just don't have a stocking anymore. But I love this stocking pattern. It's actually, I got it years and years ago when I had a lot of Thimbleberry books by Lynette Jensen. And I've been getting rid of a lot of books, so I'm not even sure if I have the book anymore. But when I was making these, some of these would have Christmas trees on it. And then I had some of my younger children that wanted me to make them a Pikachu or Mario or some other cartoon character that they were very interested in. Mickey Mouse, I remember making that one. But yeah, so I just went kind of crazy. I used this base stocking pattern and then just dressed it with whatever I wanted to. So stockings make very quick Christmas gifts. And I also use a lot of stockings. I hang them on all of my doors. So my bedroom doors, my bathroom doors, my basement door, the inside of my front, my entry doors. So I do that as well. So I just love stockings. And this one is one that is one of those hand-sewn felt kits. I also like to do these as well. They're nice for traveling when you don't want to take your sewing machine somewhere, so you can get a lot done with these. And they have all kinds of these, but I mostly bought mostly of the Winnie the Pooh series. And then I also made some of the doorknob hangers that was the same design as well. So I do like doorknob hangers as well. Been seeing a lot come through. Let me check it. Scrappy Cat says, hi T and everyone watching and enjoying my sugar fire reason I'm here late. We'll have to watch the beginning later. Okay. Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Did I miss Rebecca Oliver? Let me see. Rebecca says, lost a stocking. How does that happen? Cute stockings. And that was my point, because I even told them that I would keep their stockings and put them up and bring them back to their houses next year. But you know, some people just are not organized. They don't care about handmade items. They just, once Christmas is over, those things could have been pitched for all I know. I've never seen them again. And even the people that I've made 2 stockings for, those same people don't have stockings to this day. But it's amazing. And the ones that really care for them, when I go over their house during the seasons, I see them hanging. So it's just really awesome to see who has kept up with their stocking, especially those that I made as children. And they're now in their 30s and they still have their Christmas stockings. So it's pretty awesome. Another thing that came out was this book that had the fabric folded ornaments. And they had about 20, maybe at least 15 maybe, different ornaments that you can make. And so I made a lot of these. I just pulled one out for my lecture, so that's why you're only seeing one. But there are so many different designs, and I just love the fact that they were little mini quilt blocks that they were making in the folded fabric format. And I just see a little fruit fly flying around here. So if you see it in the camera, that's what it is. So I make a lot of these, and I take these. I have a... You know, when you have, what do you call it? Where you open up a wall and you have to have the beam across for stability. I'm just blocking the name of it. But I have one of those across my kitchen that divides my kitchen. And so I just put a lot of these on that during the holiday season to decorate. But they're basically ornaments. Another one that I did in the embroidery machine, on the inside here, is the little fringe, and I really like that as well. It's another embroidery machine technique that if you haven't tried it, it's really fun to do. And sometimes I will do these little things as gifts, and then my next item also I would do as gifts. And then they can decide if they want to hang it on the wall, if they want to hang it on a doorknob, if they want to hang it on the Christmas tree. But they are for ornaments. And this one was made in '07. When I decide to give people seasonal items, I try to do it in a smaller fashion. So my goal is not to ever decorate someone's home, but just to be a little accent to it. And so I will do small quilts. Instead of doing somebody a Christmas quilt for their bed, I'll do something small for their walls. And so this one just happens to be an embroidered tree. And I would know this might be like a Need a Good design here. But I would normally, it could be a snowman, it could even be a applique tree, but I just try to keep it into something small like this if I'm going to do actual quilt tops. And I do go ahead and put a sleeve on these, and then sometimes I might give them a little hanging stand or frame to go with it, because otherwise they don't know what to do with it. And sometimes if I'm there when they open it, I'll just go ahead and put it up for them so they know what to do with it. Let me see the comment section. And Mary Smith says, the Christmas quilt is gorgeous. How do you get the different size blocks together? We'll get there. Kathy Verge says, stockings are adorable. Thank you so much. Sin says, ornaments make great gift tags and can be used every year after on the recipient's tree. That's correct. Thank you, Sin, for the tip. Darlene says, to the folks living in the DMV, the original Quilt and Sewing Expo is coming up in September, 3-4 days, Fredericksburg, Virginia. So, back to snowman quilt. I do a lecture on scrap quilts, and sometimes I'll just use color book objects and make quilts with them. Sometimes I will blow them up. Sometimes I will just use them as size. But one of the things about coloring books is that they're pretty plain and simple. So when I do that, I do my crumb quilting, like my crumb blocks. I just make fabrics, and then I will cut out my actual shape, which is this snowman shape. Everything but his head was cut out at one time, and then I cut his head out. But it makes a big difference on when you're quilting. And I know I've got lights on in here, so it's not showing all the detail I would like to show you, but it looks better than making him with one piece of fabric. And that's another reason why I like crumb quilting, is because you can make your own fabric. Just put all of your light colored crumbs together and sew them into a piece of fabric and cut out whatever shape you want. Erica says, have you done a live chat about purchasing and or using the embroidery machine? I think I would be interested in that. I just tried to do a video on using my embroidery machine to do an in the hoop project, and of course it gave me some trouble, so I'm hoping that I got good video that I can edit out and use it. Otherwise I may have to re-record, and that would have to be after retreat. But I do have some things coming up on the actual embroidery machine. All right, one of the other things is holidays. I decorate mostly for every holiday, so then also if my house is decorated, then I feel like I need to be decorated, so I might have shirts for various holidays that I've embroidered on. But I also like to make tote bags for every holiday, and they don't have to be fancy, these kind, because I'm not gonna wear them that much. I made just a week before the holiday or something, so I don't make them super fancy. This is just your base bag, and all I did was just put prairie points at the top and then put a binding around the top, just to give it some added detail. And then what you're seeing in here is just different embroidery stitches on my embroidery machine. Just something to decorate the actual bag with. Let's see what's on the other side. Yeah, they continue onto the other side. So yeah, but I do like, I do the lining, and so then I just leave the lining open for turning, and then I just stitch it down on the inside and don't even care. I was trying to see if I could find the opening where I just top stitch it down. I don't even worry about hand sewing the inside, because no one should be inside of your bag looking anyway. If they are oh, cross the line. But yeah, so this one right here doesn't even have pockets, because I just did a quick put together bag. I might use it to take gifts or something like that when I go places, especially if I'm just giving like gift cards and things like that. It'll all fit into that bag. And Jennifer, I just seen, says thumbs up, everybody. I haven't seen everything coming through, but I saw that, so thumbs up the video. Again, I'm into snowmen, and I was in bed and got a keepsake quilting catalog and saw this in the catalog, and so I pre-cut a lot of my fabrics into squares that are usable size that I like to use. And it doesn't matter what size square somebody else is using, I'm going to use the squares that I have enough of to complete a project with. So I saw this one. I called him I've Fallen and I Can't Get Up, and I forgot what keepsake quilting calls him, but this is what it is. And I actually have big clips, paper clips on his feet for on his skates. And then I had all of these squares already pre-cut to make this quilt top, and just gorgeous. I love when I come across a project and I already have everything cut out that I need. I just had to make the half square triangles for this project. And they also came out with other quilts based on this. They came out with a Santa, a scarecrow, maybe a pumpkin, I'm not sure, but they got various different holidays and different things that you can do with these, and they all are basic squares, and you could really just put them together by looking at it, because it is very simple if you've already got your squares cut and you're just creating your own size. Let's see. Diane 57 says, that's very cute. I'm not sure which one. Probably the bag. Trey says, I'm looking at the border on the quilt behind you. Very intimidating to an 8-month-old quilter like myself. Debbie Morehouse says she loves the bag. Scrappy Cat says, those projects are adorable. I like that upside down snowman. Did not expect that, T. And then love the skate idea. Yes. And you know, we can spend a lot of money on embellishments when we're buying them from the quilt shops, but I find sometimes just going to your office stores or your hardware stores, you'll get stuff a lot cheaper. See how many more I got. 3 more with the one that's in my lap. Again, it's machine embroidery, and I'm showing you these for people that haven't done machine embroidery. because there is so much that you can do with machine embroidery. On this particular one, I made a little landscape quilt with this one, and I'm going to hold it back so you can see it. This is another one of those Anita Good designs, and it is called Sleigh Ride. And what happens is, I'm going to get up close now so you can see. You got squares that you're actually embroidering square by square. So this is actually 12 squares put together. And I have a white base of fabric underneath. And then all of this is stitched on top of the white base fabric. And then in the white areas where they want to stay white, there wouldn't be any stitching. So I use like a white tone on tone print. I'm hoping you can see a little of it. And then you just put these blocks together. But it's all made in the embroidery machine as well. And I think the snowflakes was part of the pattern as well. I don't think I pulled this from somewhere else. But yeah, but they also give you this, and they'll give it to you in maybe 3 different sizes. And the nice thing about Anita Good Design is they'll have a folder for each file format that a machine will take, and then you just go to that file, and then they'll have it by size under that main folder. Very nice. This is one of my fun quilts. It is, when I was a kid, I used to love to play with paper dowels. I didn't like real dowels for some strange reason, but I love paper dowels. And so when I saw this quilt pattern, it is not my quilt pattern. I actually purchased this because I really, really liked it, and it reminded me of the paper dowels, and it's called Snow Gear. So I'm just trying to back up so I can show you as much as I can. And so you've got the big snowman in the middle, and then he's got different scarves, gloves, hats, shoes. Let me pull it up. And shoes that he can choose from. Now, what's neat about this one, sometimes if I'm doing a project that's seasonal and I know it's not going to be up long, I don't want to do all the stitching around all the appliques. So look at this again, and you can see that none of the appliques have any stitching. And this quilt was made in 2002. So why isn't the applique peeling? Turn it to the side and let you, kind of rough it up a little bit so you can see that it's not peeling. Now, I want to talk about technique as well on this, but first we'll talk about the appliques. There's different styles of fusible webbing, and I use, for the most part, there's 2 kinds that I like. I like the Steamer Seam 2 Light, and I like not warm and natural. Uh-oh, I just threw the name out my head now. Tell me some names of stabilizers out there. This is too funny. Diana Nelson is here. Hi, Diana. Vicky is here. She says, hi, T. I'm trying to get on this PC to watch your show, but the internet is not cooperating. Susan Glenn is here. She says, hey, T. Sorry I'm late. Hello from Cincinnati. Love the quilt behind you. Thank you. And Winfred says, these projects are lovely. Thank you so much. Stella says, love the skate idea. Somebody telling me the name of fusible webbings, because I know it, but I'm blocking it right now. Wonder Under is not it. Hellline is not it. It's the, you've got a light and you've got a regular. You've got like one that's more of a heavy duty, and the light has a purple words on it, and then your heavy duty kind it's in red. The letters are in red, and I'm just blocking the name of it right now. I'll add it to the comment section or something later on. Y'all know how I am. So anyway, I used the heavy stabilizer. And I'm telling you, this has been on here since 2002, and it has not moved. Now, if you're using a heavy stabilizer, you cannot stitch through it, because when you put your needle through it, it's going to be gummed up with all of the gummy stuff. Even if you ironed it 10 years ago, it's still going to gum up, trust me. So whenever you're using this stabilizer, you're doing it with the intent of knowing that you're not going to stitch on it. Now, again, Look at my background, and you see where I've got that grid in the background? What I did with this particular quilt top is I cut this large background piece, did all of this checkerboard piecing and put this border on it, and then I quilted this entire quilt. It did not have any of these appliques on it. And then after I got it all quilted and bound, I even put a label on it, a sleeve on it so I can hang it. Then I put the appliques on because I did not want to be trying to quilt or stitch through those appliques. It's near impossible, especially when you start adding on layer on top of layer. But it's very nice, and it stays in storage. I don't even iron it when I put it up. I could, it's no big deal, but eventually whatever little folds are in it, they will work themselves out. If something is really bad, then I'll hit it with an iron. But it's one of my best projects. Let me check the comment section one more time. Heat and Bond. Thank you so much, Rose. That is exactly what I was looking for. It's called Heat and Bond. And I don't know why all of a sudden I just couldn't remember that. It just went right out of my head. So we had Rose had to leave. Or people are saying good night, Rose. Claudette says Wonder Under. We had people doing Misty Fuse. There are so many interfacing. Somebody says FF101. That's not the type of fusible interfacing. A fusible webbing. You want a fusible webbing on this, not a fusible interfacing. And then you have Heat and Bond, Light and Heat and Bond. And you want the regular Heat and Bond if you're not going to stitch it down. Vicky says, what a gorgeous quilt behind you. Thank you, Vicky. You are a very talented quilter. Thank you. And Sid says, great construction tips. Thanks so much. You're welcome. All right. Now, I just got asked this question tonight, and so I'm going to answer the question. And I happen to have the quilt. It was already in the program. I can't remember who asked me the question. I think it was Mary, about how did I get started into quilting. I actually was, as I showed you in my very first crazy quilt, that I started sewing in 1986. That's the year that my daughter was born. Actually, I learned to sew, got my first sewing machine while I was home on maternity leave. So, been sewing. I always wanted to quilt. I had a great aunt that quilted in the South, in Birmingham, one of the little rural areas. And back then, little kids did not ask. If you were not offered, you didn't ask. And she never offered to teach me how to quilt, but she did at least let me follow her around. And so I used to follow her around a lot. And I've always had quilts in my heart. And she would make those quilts that they were all made from clothing because she had no money to buy any fabric whatsoever. So it was all old clothing. And then old quilts were used inside for the new quilts. So fast forward to me going on maternity leave. I get the sewing machine. And then I decide, oh my goodness, quilting is probably too hard. I can't do that. So I start quilting in 1986, and I made all of my clothing, and I made all of my daughter's clothing at that time. And then I was in a store called Sofro Fabrics. I don't know how many, if this went around the USA or not. Like Cloth World is Joann's. Joann's used to be Cloth World. Well, there was a store, another fabric store called Sofro Fabrics. And so I was in there one day buying clothing fabrics and saw where they had this free block of the month. And so it started in July of 1994, and they gave you 2 patterns each month to make a quilt. And of course, on the supply list, they give you everything that you need to, like all the fabric that you need to make the quilt. So when I first started, I had mostly clothing fabrics, and I didn't have any quilt style fabrics or Christmas fabrics like that. So I had to buy like a 1/4 yard of this, a 1/2 yard of that, or whatever I needed to do those 2 blocks. So I did that, all self-taught. I grouped a friend I grabbed her and said, come on, work on this project with me. Neither one of us had quilted at that time. So we go back the second month, and of course we need more fabric. And then I got to the point, I was like, I'm not going to keep buying all this fabric for this quilt. So I started using a lot of my fabrics that I was using in dressmaking. I got linen in here, I got organza. I got all kind of stretchy materials. I even stuck a pom-pom on here. So it's just very gaudy. But I was determined that I was going to have that quilt done. And I actually had that quilt done by Christmas of 1994, the same year, to hang on my wall for the month of December. So I went in on the first date of the month that they gave the pattern out, got that pattern, came home, made those 2 blocks, put this together into my first quilt. Now, it is hilarious. It's a Christmas quilt, and it's a sampler quilt. I'm trying to make sure I have it right side up here. And you're not going to be able to see it all. We already know that. But these blocks are 15 inches. I'm just going to show you parts of the quilt first. And then I will pull it up a little bit. Because I got to talk about it. So I got some ribbon in that row. And then here is some of my organza. The stuck pom-pom, and then the last row is, I think, are just basic blocks, I think. Can't tell. But yeah. So, now, when I did this, I was so proud of myself. It's like I actually got the quilt done. This quilt has never been washed. This quilt will never be washed for a number of reasons. Number one is because of the linen fabric. And I'm sure that that would shrink. And I also have organza in here, although something told me to interface that organza before I put it in, and I did. Had no book, no instructions. The other thing about this quilt is that all I quilted was down my sashing. So none of my blocks have any quilting in it. They're 15-inch blocks. But, you know, I was doing this on my home sewing machine, and you know when you get into instructions, they give you the instructions. Always at the end of a pattern, they'll say quilt as desired. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So that's what I quilted. Now, as I've gotten more experience with quilting, I could have finished this quilt. I have a strong desire to fix this quilt. But my husband keeps me sane and says, do not touch that quilt because that shows where you came from. And so that's why I will not fix this quilt. The other thing is, I brought the backing fabric over to the front, left a border for that, and then it was too plain because and then I say, oh, you see the stitches, and so then I went back and put this gaudy rickrack on top of it so you couldn't see the stitches. So I was just locked in. I had a great time though, and I got it done all by myself, and I was motivated because of that great aunt that I used to watch going around when I was 5 years old making quilts that never taught me a thing, but she taught me that quilt making existed, and that's where my desire for quilting come from. From there, I have been a self-taught quilter for a long time. Now, I have taken classes, and I don't necessarily take classes because I'm trying to, it might be a class where I feel like I know everything that they're going to do, but I found that when you go to lectures and when you go to classes, you can always learn one thing from somebody everywhere, or be reminded of something that you used to do, that you should have been doing, that you stopped doing, that's causing your quilts to not come out straight or your seams are puckered. So you can always pick up one tip from everybody. But I'm basically a self-taught quilter. And so this is my first Christmas quilt. I do not use it as much because I can't stand to look at it for too long. I might use it to like cover a table and then half of it is covered with other stuff. But what I did was I then went and made this quilt behind me. And this quilt behind me started out as Oxmoor's House Christmas quilt. That was one of those. At one point in quilt making, there was a lot of mail order patterns. And every month, you paid every month for about a year and a half. And they would send you like 2 main blocks. And then also included in that, they would give you like other quilt patterns that you could make with those same 2 blocks. And so this took like 18 months to do. But you all know Teajuana don't follow instructions. They had blocks in different areas. It started out with this tree, which I did. Right here should have been 4 of these candy cane blocks in 3 inches. And I had just learned how to needle turn, and so I wasn't great at it, and my candy canes were not very smooth. So I decided I would just paper piece 3 little 3-inch squares instead. I mean 4 little 3-inch squares instead. And then I made the candy canes bigger and put them here. I can't remember what was here, but I just started doing whatever I wanted in any of the spaces. And I just started, if I liked their patterns, I did them. If I didn't, I just ignored them and put something in that I wanted to put into this quilt. So I actually made it my own. I've got, I don't know if it's even picking up on this camera, and you're probably not going to be able to see it, but I quilted with some glitter threads. I have some sliver threads in the borders, and I'll talk about the border in a minute. I've got little hooks for your skirts for the door handles of the church. Got buttons up here. It's got beads, sequins. It's got all kinds of stuff onto this quilt. And buttons. The little houses here have buttons for the doors. I know this block was 6 inches and I made it 12 inches. So it was a lot of things that I changed as I went along. And then on the borders, they did have a piece border. And then they also had a plain border that you could put on the quilt. And I just chose to use the Greek keys border. It's not as difficult as it looked. It's just a block. And then you add a strip on the outside. So it's not a very difficult thing to make. It's like making a log cabin block almost. But yeah, so this is my redeeming grace from the first quilt. And so I kind of went crazy and just put everything into one quilt, but it has a lot of embellishments in it. I know you can't see it all because I'm in front of it, but you know, and then there's the blue block here is the bottom, but there may be a little 6-inch block you can't see on the bottom. So yeah, but I had fun with that. And that's the main thing about quilt making anytime, is to make sure that you're just having fun. If it's not fun, why are you doing it? It shouldn't be stressful. Sin says, wonderful, wonderful first quilt. Impressive. Thank you so much. Denise says, Diane57 says, my mom made quilts, but would not teach me either. And I was, like I said, my aunt was probably in her 80s or more, and I was 5 years old. I did not live there. I was actually living in St. Louis, and we would visit once or twice a month. So she wasn't obligated to teach me, but I just was always fascinated with it. And she just probably felt that I was too young at that time for her. And so she just didn't teach me, but I sat down and watched her. And while I was watching her, it was just planted that I wanted to do that one day. So Stella Johnson says, beautiful Christmas quilt. Your potential was showing. Be proud of the quilt. As the Quilting Marine says, it's only fabric, it's only thread. Sarah says, awesome. And Diane says, yes, I have a big book of quilts like that. And I think she's talking about where they used to do the mail order stuff. You used to do that for just any craft. At one point, they would send you these little, they would send you a binder that was huge, like maybe 4 inches. And then it was one of those printed design binders that was with the pattern or the company that they were going to be sending you the stuff that related to it. And then every month they sent you this stuff, and it had like divider, tab, indexes for you to put the block of the month, and then it had all the other projects that you can make with it, and they gave you color-coded tabs so you know where to put all of this stuff. It was very costly, but they were very organized with it. Nita Hooper says, that's a really pretty quilt for the first quilt. It's fantastic. I would leave it as it is. And I've been leaving it alone. I have not touched it. Vicky says, I got a binder with Oxmoor when I started or ended getting the patterns. Yes. And so, you know, they're not doing it anymore. They don't even have, they got a book that has a different version of the quilt. It's not exactly this particular quilt, It's not going to be this quilt anyway because I changed so much of it. Like I got a train in here and I got a lady in the train and she's hauling in all the Christmas goodies and stuff. So yeah, but you know, it'll be something similar, but they got a book that's not even the original to the pattern. They must have been something going on with the copyright to that. And so they came up with something similar but not the same. Let's see. I hope my first quilt looks that good. I'm sure it will because my quilt isn't even quilted. So, like I said, I would never wash that quilt because it has not been stabilized correctly. Cherie says, T, on your video intro, you have 2 quilt pics. One is a exploding star and the other one is sort of a circle double wedding ring design. When you get a chance to check, could you let me know what it is, please? I don't have to go anywhere. It's actually Judy Martin's double wedding ring quilt, and she does it all from mostly squares and rectangles. And it's in a book called Scraps, but she came out with a special version where she did for AQS magazine, where she did it in the rainbow style, and that's when I actually did it. But I had always had it on my to-do list to do in a large size, and when she came out with that smaller size, I jumped right on it. Diane 57 says, love that Xmas quilt. Vicky says, there is no such thing as a bad quilt as it is a finished quilt. And I agree with your hubby. He was right. Don't fix your first quilt, and it's too bad you can't hang it in a hall. I don't want to hang it in a hall. I used to hang it all the time, but you know, when you make quilts and you have a lot of quilts and you're rotating things around, you tend not to put everything up every year. I try to put up, I used to take pictures of stuff I had up so the next year I wouldn't forget what was hanging where, so it would be easier. It's a mess. Sin says, I still have a couple of those binders. So costly, can't make myself pitch them out, laughing out loud. Yes, indeed. I think, like, the Christmas quilt, I want to say it was like maybe $27 or plus shipping every month to mail or something. It was costly. I think when we got through, we probably spent like maybe about $400 for the quilt patterns with no fabric. But it was a lot. That book, it was a lot in the book though. Diane says, the reason I love quilting is because you have something special that you made when you're done, and that's correct. And I used to give a whole lot of quilts out to my family. I've made a quilt for almost everyone in my family, but I'm also finding out that some people just don't appreciate it. And then sometimes you have people that appreciate it but are users too. You know, they want you to make them like 6 or 7 quilts, but they won't even buy any fabric for themselves. So, you know, I had to change my whole perspective on just giving quilts, and that's why I just go straight to charity quilts instead. It's impressive you were a young girl who saw something, admired it, and did something about what you love. Cherie says, thanks. You're welcome. No problem. She says, you have a remarkable imagination to come up with a train. A woman with lots of presents. Wish I knew her back then. Okay. So yeah, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. I see that 34 of you have. I thank you very much. Appreciate that. I don't have any other topics. If you got any questions you want me to answer, go ahead and pop those in. I just wanted to not come in on Wednesday and you all think something was going on. Although I have had a very busy week. I tend to be up at night because I'm working, because it's quieter and I don't have to worry about the phone ringing. And so I was up to about maybe 3 o'clock, went to bed, and then my mom called me at 4 o'clock saying my nephew got hit. So I'm like, okay. So she wanted me to go to the hospital because his mom was with the car on the highway. He's fine, everything's okay, he's in pain, but he actually got physically hit by a car while he was waiting for AAA, which is the road service in Missouri, Illinois, and Arkansas, I think. And a lady, it's weird when you see something on the highway and your body, your driving will automatically magnetize you over to where you shouldn't be, and you have to, like, you know, keep a hold of the wheel to not go over there. So lady just accidentally hit him. At that same time, I was dreaming about my brother, and I think my brother was with my nephew at that time. So, you know, sometimes you have weird things happening in your life, and then you find where stuff start to connect, because my nephew walked away from that. He is in pain, but he has no broken bones or anything like that. So he was just very, very lucky. He got hit by a car outside the car. So, but yeah. Uh-oh, Sin says her kitchen timer just went off. She got to go. Bye, Sin. And she says, I'm making yogurt and other yummy things. Wow. Thumbs up, everybody, she says. Hugs and kisses as she's on her way out. Joycelyn Woodward says, you are an inspiration. Love your color combinations. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Joycelyn. Stormy Long said, glad to hear he's okay. Yeah. Glad to hear he is okay. Wow, that was scary. Yes. And so that messed up my entire week, because that happened Sunday morning. So I had just went to sleep, slept for an hour, and then my mom calls, and so then I get up and I go to the emergency room, and I'm with him, and then he wasn't there very long, maybe till like maybe 10, 11 o'clock, something like that. But then, you know, your mind's all racing, and you got all this excitement, so you don't sleep. And I've never been able to catch up on the sleep that I've lost. So I've had like one of those weeks where I keep saying, I'm tired. And it's like, oh my goodness, we don't want to go back to that again. I was doing pretty good with my energy, and now this week has been kind of rough. And so I almost canceled tonight, and I go, no, I'm just going to figure out something. We'll just sit and chat if nothing else. So I did pull a few of my Christmas quilts. And like I said, I could decorate my whole house. When I decorate my whole house for Christmas, people come in and say, it looks like a little country store where you only have one or two of the same items for sale. I was like, whatever, but nothing in here is for sale. A lot of you are saying, thank God he's okay. Yes, indeed. And Vicky says, charity is always good. When people know you quilt, they don't know the expense involved or the time. And that's true, because they don't even, when I give my customers quote on prices for quilts, they think that we're just little old ladies sitting around with absolutely nothing to do, using our scraps, and that we'll make them a quilt for $50, because, you know, they can buy one at Walmart for $50. So why can't you make them one for that? But, you know, I quickly quash all of that. I get rid of a lot of people that are not serious seekers, because I refuse to work for free. Especially, whenever you are hired on to do something, if somebody's paying you, even if it's subpar, say somebody paid you $50 to do a quilt, when you get them that quilt back and you have one little something that's off that they don't like, you know that they will blow the world up for that one little thing. And so I just decided that if I'm going to work for other people, then they need to pay me to do the work. And so I don't have no problem telling people what it costs to make a quilt. And I get rid of a lot of people that are not serious seekers, because they're looking for somebody to make a quilt for $50. And that definitely isn't me. So, yeah. I did tell you about the borders on the quilts, and that they were Greek keys borders, kind of piece-like log cabin style blocks. And then you just add the strip on the side. That's what makes it look like it's more complicated. But they're just little block units. So you start, if you start at this black and go down to this red, that's all this is. It's a strip of fabric here with a square, and then a strip, and it just goes around until you come out of it. So it's simple. It's just, if you look up Greek keys block, you will see it. And then it's just a strip on the side after all the blocks were sewn together. And on this one, I may have put that, I can't remember if I put the red strip in before or after I sewed the blocks together. But it's pretty simple. Vicky is saying AAA is everywhere. I know that AAA is everywhere, but when you sign up here in St. Louis, it tells you that you got your connecting states that they are covering you for. If my car stops in Alabama, I don't think that they would take care of that. They won't take care of my car until I get back into one of the connecting states. That's why I said that. So you have to watch what your area has. Stella says, hope to catch you again. T, learned a lot by listening to you, by praying for your nephew. Thank you so much, Stella. Trey says, praying for your nephew. A lot of people are saying, interesting, Greek keys. That's Erica. Yes, that's all it is. It's a Greek keys. And they have it mostly where they do blocks, and when you put the blocks together, but you can also do border units with it as well. And I don't think my camera is straight, or either my rod is not hanging straight. Probably the rod is not hanging straight. Knowing me, because I just slap stuff up. I don't get the thing to make sure that it's balanced straight. I'm just like, okay, it's up, I can use it. So yeah. So that's it for me. How long have we been on tonight? Oh my goodness, we just are coming up on 61 minutes. So I am sort of kind of on time. So anyone else got any other questions they want to ask before we sign off? So I can go back to working on, well, I got to put stuff up now, because it's amazing how one person can mess up the dining room, my sewing room, my long arm room, this room. It's like all these different projects I'm working on. I'm just bouncing around, and I got all kinds of stuff on different surfaces. And my family is coming over for Labor Day, so I got to start picking everything up. So today will be my last day of sewing, and then I will start grocery shopping for Monday. A lot of people are just going to bring Paigey, she just jumped right up into my foot. But anyway, yeah, how you know, they're going to bring dishes, so I don't have to do a whole lot. I just got to start putting stuff up and grocery shop for the staples for the most part. I'm making, let's see, what do I have to cook? I have to make ribs and potatoes, garlic potatoes, and probably a cake, maybe. So that's probably all I got to do. Or either I might do, maybe I'll do apple pie instead. Do something different. I'll do apple pie. So that's all I got to make. They said they're bringing everything else. So I said, okay. A lot of people are signing off. Thank you all so much. And Susan says, ha ha ha, sounds like my house, as far as how the whole house gets messed up with one lonely quilter. Sandra says, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, and get some rest. Thank you so much, Sandra. I will. I have not seen those on a quilt before. She's talking about the Greek keys border, I'm assuming. Stormy is saying good night. And Miss J.A. Coleman says, T, did you mark the t-shirt quilt before you started quilting? The t-shirt quilt was quilted with a panto, so I don't have to do any marking. There's a way of using a quilt panto, whether from the front or the back. You just know where your edges are. So no marking whatsoever. Great question. And I hope I got everybody else's questions answered tonight. If I omitted them, just go ahead and put them in the comment section when the video uploads. And that's it. I think that's it. Susan, as Susan says, later, Gator. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.